Well, it's a very warm welcome back to second half independent off-tube studio commentary from the game at Selhurst Park, and our referee Sam Barrett has just got the second half underway here at Selhurst Park. Both sides would feel as though they had their moments in the first to be in front at half-time. Very early goals in this game. Everton taking the lead inside the first minute after a header from Mykolenko, and then Palace equalising after 5 minutes after a penalty from Idrissa Gueye. Both sides had a couple of other decent chances as well. There was also a penalty shout for Palace when Eze went down after a challenge from Brandt, but he actually got booked for that in the end, Eze, after it was deemed to be a dive, and it did seem to be that he was trying to make the most of it. Has been one change for Everton at half-time, with Amadou Onana coming on Amadou Onana replaced here by Idrissa Gueye. Onana was a little bit of a fitness doubt before this game anyway, and didn't see too much of him, which is always a bad sign if you're a central midfielder. I'll do this full 11s in just a second, and we'll just see out this attack, because Eze is now pushing forward here for Palace. He tried to thread a ball through towards Odsonne Eduoard, but Everton are able to arrest the danger, at least momentarily. It's myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz, and Ben White taking into the action. And Ben, we saw there straight away inside the first minute who the danger man was for Palace in the first half, and who was likely to be in the second half.
Yeah, it remains to be that way, didn't it? And we're maybe seeing now the home side trying to get on the front foot in the first minute or so. Of course, it was Everton to break the deadlock, but Crystal Palace immediately bounced back. On the only change, it may be a fair one, as we've discussed. Onana he didn't feature in the game last weekend against Brighton, so he was going into this game with a late fitness test, and he's got 45 in it. But as you say, he's usually an instrumental midfielder, but he just didn't get his stamp on the game. Idrissa Gueye was the one to play in that match against Brighton. Whilst he hasn't got the same frame as the Belgian, he's a defensive minded midfielder, isn't he, that loves to go into tackles, and maybe he's the one to have been brought on to man mark Idrissa Gueye, because he was such a handful in the first half.
It may well be exactly that Idrissa Gueye's got that real defensive midfield role in this second half. But just to remind you of the two 11s for Palace, there have been any changes. There is Sam Johnstone in goal, back four of Joel Ward, Joachim Anderson, Mark Gueye and Tyrick Mitchell. The two holder midfielders are Will Hughes and Jefferson Lerma. The three ahead of them are Jordan Ayew, Idrissa Gueye and Jeff Schlupp, with Odsonne Eduoard as the lone front man for Everton. Jordan Pickford in goal, a back four of Ashley Young, James Tarkowski, Jared Branthwaite and Vitaly Mykolenko. Four across the middle, Jack Harrison, James Garner, Idrissa Gueye, who replaces Amadou Onana, and Dwight McNeil. Abdoulaye Doucoure is in a slightly more forward role, with Dominic Calvert-Lewin as the actual front man. Last touch we can see there in the director's box this afternoon. Just a scarf draped over a chair, of course, in memory of Bill Kenwright. And of course, he's such a big figure at Goodison, and for all the problems that have been off the field for Everton over the last few years. And there was some frustration directed at Kenwright for that. But overall, I think when you look at the time he spent with Everton, he's going to be such a loss to the club, and he's such a popular character.
Oh, no, absolutely, and he said himself there, a popular character, because I think what has been apparent since the news of his passing is that the opinion that everyone had of him as a man seemed to just have a brilliant personality, a very generous personality as well. Didn't always look for the limelight when he was making huge donations to certain charities, and he seemed an admirable man, one that cared so much about his club. As Mykolenko tries to get the ball into the box towards Doucoure, the shot is blocked in the end. I think I'll go for an Everton corner. But the final point on Kenwright just being that I think with football nowadays, it could be one of the very last examples of an owner that was a boyhood supporter of that club.
It's, I should say that they're being harder and harder to find now at Premier League level, of course, with the amount of money required to actually fund a Premier League club these days. It's not enough just to be a self-made millionaire or multi-millionaire. You've got to be a pretty healthy billionaire financially these days. But Everton have this corner kick off that run, a ball into the box. It's headed away towards the edge of the area, drops to Idrissa Gueye. His cross goes across the penalty area for Mykolenko to strike it. It's the post and then off the back into the back of the net. And it's Abdoulaye Doucoure with the goal for Everton. Well, they scored inside the first minute in the first half. They've scored inside the first 4 minutes of the second, and their visitors are 2-1 up. Oh,
it's early goals once more, and for a second you're thinking Mykolenko's got his second of the game. He scored last weekend, he's already scored today, and he's so unlucky to hit the post. But I'm interested if Doucoure is onside for this. Based on the celebrations, I would suspect that he is. We're about to see now. Jefferson Lerma, I suspect, is keeping him on. Doucoure, I was going to say he anticipates it, but I think fortunately for the Malian, it just hits the post and comes straight into his path, and it's the easiest goal he's ever going to score, a simple tap in. But Abdoulaye Doucoure under Sean Dyche just simply cannot stop scoring. It's one of the easy ones that he will get, but a goal is a goal, and it's a vital one for Everton.
Well, I actually think it's almost making the best of a bad situation, because I'm not sure that Idrissa Gueye's ball across the edge of the area was the best cross he could have played there. He had so many big players to aim for inside the box, but fair play to Vitaly Mykolenko. He, quick thinking there, hits it on the volley, really puts his foot through that, it hits the post and deflects perfectly into the path of Doucoure. To say you need to make your own luck sometimes, and they are still checking this. I'm not sure it's going to take this long, because to me it's fairly obvious that Jefferson Lerma was playing Abdoulaye Doucoure on. It may well be that the angle we saw originally for the replay might not be the best. We are going to see, in fact, decision goal, no offside, confirmed now by VAR. So let's say there's nothing wrong with them double checking things, but we could see from the first replay there was unlikely to be any kind of scope for VAR to get involved, and they haven't been able to. So 51 minutes on the clock now. We're 6 minutes into the second half. It's Crystal Palace 1, Everton 2, and Palace have got to do it all again now. They got back into the game after conceding early in the first half. Then they had chances to lead before half time, but now they find themselves 2-1 down. And credit to Everton starting brightly in this second half. And although it wasn't the best ball, I suppose Idrissa Gueye's already had an impact coming on the field.
Well, absolutely. There you go. It certainly wasn't intended for that area. A percentage ball, if anything, because it was from a corner and everyone's still in the area. But as you say, it falls out to Mykolenko. It's a great strike from the Ukrainian. Unlucky to hit the post, but then Doucoure onside, and great anticipation to put it into the back of the net. Now it's up to Palace to respond. They responded immediately in the first half to get that equaliser. They need another equaliser now.
They do. Now the question is, of course, whether Everton can to take some learn some lessons from the first half and just be a little bit more difficult to break down now that they have scored early in the second half. And straight away a ball down the left-hand side for Palace towards Schlupp. Is well cut out there by the experienced Ashley Young. Out for a throw now to Palace, with the ball sent back by Mitchell towards Mark Gueye for Jim Anderson now. Being closed down there by Calvert-Lewin. Back to Mark Gueye again. And as it stands now, Palace are just getting a little bit bogged down inside their own half. They don't want to be dwelling here for too long, because Everton have got players that will try and push forward as well. As I say, still no goals at Old Trafford. You can imagine the atmosphere there is getting quite tense now, with nearly 15 minutes into the second half in that game. They're a good 3 or 4 minutes ahead of us. We're on the 52 minutes here at Selhurst Park, and slowly but surely Palace are now creeping forward into the Everton half. It's with Ward and Ayew down the right hand side, back in towards Jefferson Lerma. Lerma then puts a bit more pace on the pass, looking at Joel Ward, but again, just too many Everton players in their change sort of silvery grey kit today. No real options for Palace but to go straight back towards the halfway line. Will Hughes now in towards Jeff Schlupp. Back towards the halfway line again. Well, you mentioned that one change for Everton. You look at Mateus Franca, as well as Ahamada, as well as Matthews. They've got Elise, they've got Mateta. So there are options there if they want to try and spice up the attack there, Crystal Palace. Just wonder how long Roy Hodgson's going to consider before he makes a change. But in the meantime, Palace are going forward here now with Ayew trying to find Eze at the edge of the area. It's back with Jordan Ayew again. No option to get the ball into the box. So it's back now with Joel Ward. Inside towards inside towards Eze, who gets the ball back, goes on the overlap and goes for goal himself. The shot from the angle is charged down after the initial effort was stopped. Eze somehow was able to get onto the second ball. He can't take a shot himself, but he tees it up. Oh, and there's a bit of a challenge coming in there as well. Don't think there was enough for a foul, and the ball is played back towards the edge of the area. It's recycled here down the left by Jefferson Lerma towards Mitchell before Lerma is forced to track back towards the halfway line. But Everton there just perhaps guilty of allowing Palace a bit too much space at the edge of the area. Yeah,
I think you're right. And whilst there was a lot of Palace bodies in that attack, it just seemed that every time it rebounded, it came to a Palace man because of the bodies there. And one of them, Eze, he's just been such a handful. He's an absolute menace for the Everton defence. And then it comes to the edge of the area. As you say, there's a coming together. I think the Everton defender won the ball as the strike was being made. But it was one that had to be made a challenge, because it could have been another chance of goal. As he did have the strike, it was saved by Pickford, as now Jeff Schlupp rolls James Tarkowski.
He does, and Schlupp now gets the ball into the penalty area. Branthwaite is there, and he's tracking that one all the way. Eduoard was lurking at the back post, but Branthwaite makes sure that doesn't reach him, and it's out for a corner.
Yeah, it's a good response, this from Palace. I mean, you're talking about the potential substitutes. If it does remain this scoreline, as we just see that strike from Eze, then I think he will be able to take risks on the like of Elise because of just his quality. I mean, we're seeing the quality of a returned player in the form of Eze, and they might need that as well with their number 7.
And he's also got to time it right as well, Roy Hodgson. If his side are on a bit of a high at the moment, anyway, seeing a bit more of an attack, that may just hurry him into making that first change. As the cross comes in, it's more of a floated ball towards the back post, kept alive here now by Anderson. It's played towards the edge of the area. Will Hughes is ready to find a teammate with a low pass this time, but Mark Gueye has given away a free kick, and he's bumped into. It looks like it's Tarkowski that's down on the ground.
Yeah, I think he's tried to go for goal, and Tarkowski's put a brave head in. And the contact is there. We're going to see the replay of it. He gets a fair old whack, doesn't he, from the ankle of Gueye. So I suspect the physios will probably come on for this one. But Palace are throwing bodies at it. It's certainly not time for desperation just yet. We've still got, let's say, 40 minutes really, accounting for some additional time. Additional time which might be contributed by this injury to James Tarkowski, because it's a header he has to make. They're inside the 6-yard area. He wants to get the strike in, but Tarkowski's there.
Tarkowski is there. He's there to get his body in the way. Manchester United have taken the lead at home to Luton Town. That's a big goal for Erik ten Hag's side. They couldn't really afford to not win the game today. And it's Victor Lindelof with the goal for United. Back here at Selhurst Park, we're on 56 minutes. It's Palace 1, Everton 2. Everton now in possession inside the Palace half. That's not a good ball, though, down the right-hand side. Overhit there by Idrissa Gueye. Now for a throw to Everton. So our throw to Palace now down the left-hand side. I can say there's an equaliser for Burnley at the Emirates. Josh Brownhill made it 2-1, so made it 1-1. But now we're hearing that there's a goal for Arsenal after a VAR review. So potentially the Gunners are now 2-1 up against Burnley. I do feel it's going to be a long old season for those newly promoted sides, even with a few glimmers they've shown in the last few weeks. It doesn't seem like they're going to be able to amass enough points. But Segura said it's a long old season. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out. Here come Everton now on the attack. A ball into the box doesn't quite reach its intended target. It's now cleared back into midfield, but Everton comes straight back again here with Gardner over towards McNeil on the left-hand side. Back now towards the halfway line. Bit of pressing here from Odsonne Eduoard, but the visitors are able to hold on. Thoughtful Roy Hodgson there on our screens. We all know that his side have got to start seeing a bit more of the ball. They need to have a bit more of the impetus in this game as Calvert-Lewin slides in, doesn't win the ball off Eze. I thought that after that the ball was won by Harrison, but it looks like there was just a little bit of a touch there on Eze, which is enough to give the free kick.
Yeah, Calvert-Lewin slid through and maybe at the very last second just trips the ankle of Eze, because you make a good point. Harrison was the one to win the ball back, but the referee brings it back for the initial contact. We are seeing now Michael Elise just warming up on the bench, but you're right, he's got to make the changes at the right time when the flow of the game may need to go more in Palace's favour.
This is what Hodgson needs to try and time as well. His side are now in possession again here with Jeff Schlupp in midfield. Jefferson Lerma, quick ball towards Will Hughes. Back towards the halfway line now, when it's Anderson with a long ball out towards the right-hand side. It was a good ball, but it's to Jordan Ayew, who's in an offside position. So nothing's going to come from that attack. And it's a free kick to Everton. So far, Palace seeing plenty of the ball, but not too much end product so far.
Well, I think that they're the incidents that when you're trailing, especially at home as well with the clock ticking, it's just so frustrating for fans and players alike, because Jordan Ayew can see across the entire defensive line there, so there's no reason for him to be in an offside position. They are now sending the ball over the top again for Eduoard.
They are, and Eduoard turning away from trouble. His pass though down the left-hand side is easily cut out, and Everton now trying to get forward. Mitchell just doing enough to stop that ball reaching Jack Harrison, so it is going to be a throw on to Everton, but they gained a bit of territory. They're now around about the halfway line, and Doucoure calling for it. Just getting another replay of his goal. He's clearly onside. We're seeing that side on angle again. Quick instinctive finish though from Doucoure when that ball ended up with him where he did. Didn't waste any time. Just made sure it was in the back of the net.
Well, I think that the Palace back line there, outside of Lerma, have done a good job because they're quite in line with each other. But Lerma needs to be up there as well. There's no reason for him to be so far behind. Lapsing concentration there. If he's alongside, there's a good 4 or 5 Palace defenders there from that corner that are straight in a line, and Lerma isn't, and that's the reason why Doucoure stays onside.
Ball now though for Palace going forward, and Mitchell plays it first time into the run of Jeff Schlipp, but then hooks it towards the back post, and there's a bit of confusion there between the Everton defenders before it deflects out for a corner kick. Well, Pickford quickly across to try and wake up his 2 teammates there, because it was a combination, I think, of Mykolenko and Idrissa Gueye. They get in each other's way when it was easily that. I mean, it's effectively Gueye almost robs his own teammate of the ball there. Yeah,
it's a really awkward situation. Does Idrissa Gueye clear it into Mykolenko and then it ricochets off of him towards goal? Either way, the corner's been taken.
It's been taken quickly and it's aimed at the back post. Mykolenko with the header. And it's a good header as well from Mykolenko. Gets it away from danger, but Anderson keeps it alive down the left-hand side. A ball in towards Joel Ward. Ward then being challenged there. It's a good challenge as well by Idrissa Gueye, who thinks it's obvious that he then challenged his man and then won the ball off him with the deflection. The referee, however, disagrees. And so this will be a throw-on to Palace down the left-hand side as they look. Mitchell towards Gueye, who stayed forward from this from the set piece from the corner, and so did Anderson. They're back on the halfway line now anyway, as Ward looking to try and play a long ball, but Everton have pushed out fairly quickly, just making their half of the field that little bit more congested. Gueye now down the left-hand side towards Anderson. Gueye again looking for the run of Mitchell, but he's having to track back towards the halfway line himself. Anderson and Gueye again, exchanging passes. Space now for Jefferson Lerma. Finds a ball into Eduoard, who turns his man. He tries to get a shot away. He's well tracked though by Branthwaite. Then he plays the ball across the penalty area, which drops to Lerma. His shot is charged down at the edge of the box, so there may still be a chance. Harrison slides in, wins the ball cleanly though, says the referee. Hughes is still fighting for it. Bit of a scramble there at the edge of the box before it finally goes out for a throw. Well,
you could call it desperate defending, couldn't you, from Everton? But when the strikes are in from Palace, there's always a defender there to make the block. Argument maybe if the goal was to, or the ball was to have gone into the back of the net, Odsonne Eduoard may have been slightly offside. But Branthwaite gets back there brilliantly, throws his body at it, and it's a great block. And then from then, as you say, there's Will Hughes in the middle of the park. Ricochets between him and about 3 Everton defenders that all try and get the ball. Everton just thinking they've won the ball cleanly there and trying to get a counter themselves, but a free kick for Palace, which they have taken quickly. There's an intensity, as you would suspect, from Palace now.
There is. They're not wasting any time at all, and so they really are trying to take every throw on every free kick, corner kick as quickly as they can, just to put pressure on Everton, just to try and catch them out, force an error of some kind. But credit to Everton, Palace actually had that throw on quite far up the field, and just a few passes later they're having to go back towards the halfway line again, just because there's no real room to work with inside the Everton half. Anderson now lifting a ball out towards the right-hand side. Back towards Joel Ward. Now it's with Eze. So he's still a long way away from goal. Now back to Anderson again. He tries a long diagonal ball now towards the left-hand edge of the penalty area. That's really well taken down by Mitchell. The jump wasn't particularly well measured there on that right-hand side by Harrison. The ball now coming in for Palace, but that one is cleared back into midfield. Bit of a fight there between Doucoure and Ayew. Ball comes back for Crystal Palace, but Anderson sending it all the way back towards Johnston. And here come Crystal Palace again now. Mark Gueye trying a long diagonal ball towards the right-hand edge of the penalty area. Jordan Ayew lets it bounce, but he still gets there ahead of Dwight McNeil. Just holds it up momentarily before playing it back towards the halfway line. There's some pressing here from Everton, but they're not pressing too high up the field. They are trying to make it as difficult as possible to get into their own box, and Palace are finding it difficult to get into the box.
No, I think Everton will enjoy this because they just can't get through the lines, Palace. They're trying the width. Eze is just drifting into all sorts of positions because he's the creative outspark, and yet he's always forced to make short passes as well. They may try and get this cross into the box, but there's so many Everton bodies there that Jordan Ayew cuts it out.
He does, and he then plays it into Lerma, who goes back to that right-hand side. It's Will Hughes now, gets it onto his preferred left foot, and then puts a cross in towards the back post. Headed down, but then it's headed down to exactly where James Tarkowski has stood, and he easily clears this. It's now back with Jefferson Lerma. Will Hughes. Oh, that's a lovely ball. It was very nearly the perfect ball there for Jeff Schlupp, except that Jordan Pickford was wise to, and he comes out and saves it.
Well, I don't think that's intended for Schlupp, is it? Maybe more for Eduoard, the short ball, and then Will Hughes, he gets away with it because then Schlupp is making the late run. I don't think the Everton defence expect it either, but fortunately for them, Jordan Pickford is switched on, and you just saw the reaction from the England goalkeeper, I think to Jared Branthwaite. I don't think he was happy about something there, but Pickford's so often animated during the game.
Yes, I mean, his side could be 4-0 up. He'll be screaming at his players as if they've just done a terrible mistake, which has cost them the match. That's just the way that Pickford likes to do things. But as I say, he'll be happier at least that his side have weathered that most recent storm. There's a bit of a push in the back there, is it, on Jefferson Lerma? That's what the referee has decided. It's now back with Anderson towards Ward on the right-hand side. Being tracked down. Let's go back towards Anderson again. Towards the halfway line now. Anderson plays this square towards Mitchell. Mitchell back to Gueye. Being slowed down here, but things have just slowed down actually in the last few minutes. And this will suit Everton, of course, because with this lead they're already protecting. They're doing what they can just to really frustrate Crystal Palace right now, and Palace is by having so much possession, they're not really able to make Pickford do too much in terms of having to save shots.
No, they're not. And then, as we've said, they're really struggling to find the spaces, so they just need to try these riskier balls, but then the more percentage rather than anything, and then when the Everton defence can pick it up, it's just more frustrating for Palace. Now Everton have won it in dangerous areas. Harrison tries to play it forward for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but it doesn't pay off, and now the counter could work.
It could. It's a long ball over the top for Eduoard, just slightly on the angle for Eduoard. He couldn't continue his run straight into the box, but he plays the ball across, and it's going to drop to Lerma. Strike is just wide. Oh, it was perfectly set up, but Jefferson Lerma has got a good shot on him. But on this occasion, fortunately, as far as Everton are concerned, his strike goes wide with Pickford almost rooted to the spot.
Yeah, he certainly has a good shot on him. I remember many goals for Bournemouth on the edge of the area. He's making that late run, isn't he? I've said that there's difficulty in finding space for Palace, but then when Everton try and attack, they're stretched, and it was incisive ball forward towards Eduoard. As you say, he can't really get out of his feet at first, but he has those willing late runners, and it's towards the Colombian Lerma. He should be hitting the target at the bare minimum, but I think he's too focused on trying to find the corner, and in the end it's gone wide of the mark. I think Palace are going to make a change now. It is indeed Michael Elise on and Jeffrey Schlupp off, so another return for a Palace key player.
Yes, it is, and Palace will be hoping that whatever injury problems and fitness problems he's had, he'll be able to run them off fairly quickly, because he's such a big player for Palace when he's fit.
He really is, and we've seen it so often, just the technique that he does indeed have. He was formerly of Chelsea, wasn't he, and maybe that's another one of the youth players that they let go without maybe completely analysing his potential ability, because Palace are seeing it, but that's the benefit maybe of then finding a new club, and he's a key player there. He may not have ever been a key player for Chelsea, but that's certainly been the case for Palace. He and Eze, part of an attacking four now. Eduoard and Jordan Ayew are still on the pitch as well, but it's those two really that for the final 25 or so minutes, Roy Hodgson will be hoping can help turn this game around.
Absolutely, that is exactly what Hodgson will be counting on. Meantime, his side have had to go back towards their own keeper. Johnston just looks up before playing one down the right-hand side. And pressing here at the edge of the Palace penalty area. It's with Johnston now rolling this out towards Lerma. Lerma now approaching our final. We're actually at the three-quarter mark in this game. 68 minutes gone. It is Palace 1, Everton 2, and it will be Ben to take us through to full-time.
Yeah, cheers, Paul. As you say, the second half goal coming the way of Abdoulaye Doucoure. Since Sean Dyche came in at the start of 2023, he has been Everton's top scorer with 9 goals. Signed a new contract just last week as well, but the man that is on the Palace score sheet as well, Abdoulaye just 2 days ago signed a new contract himself. That was a key moment of Palace's season so far. Michael Elise also signed one after a few big summer transfer window rumours. Elise gets his first few touches on the ball and strikes with his favoured left foot. He's asking for a deflection. I think he has got it. It's a Palace corner.
Yes, and straight away, that's the Palace need to carry on this good form they've had in the last 10 minutes or so. Everton have done well to absorb it all, but there hasn't really been too much of an attacking response from the visitors. So Palace need to be able to jump on that as the ball comes in very quickly. The off-tube pictures we were getting were still showing us a replay of how the corner was won. get back to the live picture, and Pickford's catching the cross already.
And Pickford's complaining again. And Elise is claiming for something. Of course, as you said, Paul, we didn't really receive that on our independent off-tube pictures. It was focusing on that a replay of Elise's initial strike that went for a corner. We haven't seen what occurred from the corner. Anyway, Pickford has sent it long, looking for Calvert-Lewin, who's, I have to say, had a very, very quiet game. I suspect maybe Beto could be a potential replacement there for Sean Dyche's men, but the only change they have made was at half-time. Amadou Onana off for Idrissa Gueye, who had a part to play in that second goal for the Toffees for Doucoure. As I said, Everton's top scorer under Dyche at the moment. He's just gone on to 4 for the season alongside Calvert-Lewin, who will try and chase this long ball down the line, but Mark Guehi is there to snuff it out. Plays it forward for Will Hughes under pressure from the goal scorer Doucoure. Gets it towards Ayew, but then Idrissa Gueye brilliantly reads the pass well and gets it beyond the halfway line towards Calvert-Lewin now, who is under pressure from Will Hughes, who does well to win it back after initially losing the ball. Idrissa Gueye is there again, but this time he goes through the back of Jordan Ayew, so it is a free kick for Crystal Palace inside their own half. So 2-1 at Selhurst Park. It is still 2-1 at the Emirates. As you said, Paul, there was a VAR check for William Saliba's goal in the 57th minute, just 3 minutes after Josh Brownhill equalised for Burnley. So Arsenal are 2-1 to the good, and perhaps gracefully or graciously for Erik ten Hag's men, Victor Lindelof of all people got the goal at Old Trafford against Luton Town. Tahith Chong, the man that scored the goal against Liverpool and the ex-United man, is also now on for Luton. But full focus remains in this encounter at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Everton 2. Independent off-tube studio commentary. The Toffees just 20 or so minutes away from their first occasion of back-to-back away victory since May 2021. It really has been such a long time, over 2.5 years, where they have not really managed to pick up some positive form away from Goodison Park. But as I said, their last 2 trips to London have been successful. They were sandwiched with the Merseyside derby in between that. Wins away from home against Brentford and West Ham, and they look good measure. If Palace cannot find a response for a victory away from home at Selhurst Park. Abdoulaye Doucoure just requesting a foul there from the referee, as we see Roy Hodgson looking on, who, as we have pointed out, has a few other up top attacking options available for him. Mateus França and Jean-Philippe Mateta being the 2 of those. And in fact, we are seeing Mateta being readied. I don't think that is Mateus França. That could be Nairo Ahamada. We'll bring confirmation when those players do come on. But what is for certain, it seems, is that Eduoard will be coming off for Mateta.
Yes, it does. I mean, it's almost unheard of for Hodgson to have the 2 of them playing in the team at the same time. I suppose if he was to leave them both, and that really would be a statement of intent. It
really would be. And maybe we'll find out now, because it is a goal kick for Palace, although Sam Johnstone wants to take this very quickly. We won't see the substitutions just yet, but it will be a double change, their second and third changes respectively for the Eagles. It's now with Jefferson Lerma towards Tarek Mitchell on this left side, back towards Mark Guehi. Everton won't mind if Palace continue to just pass it around the back. Seems that Everton are certainly content with just sitting back now and trying to hold on to this minimal lead, just the 1 goal lead that they do have. But they have done everything so far to try and keep that victory intact. Jordan Ayew, 30 yards from goal, gets a 1-2 with Jefferson Lerma. No, he won't, because that's a great interception there from James Tarkowski, and they try and play it forward towards Calvert-Lewin, but he seems to have run his race, really. He isn't exactly willing to press.
That possession stat we've just seen there as well, Ben, 80-20 in favour of Palace, and they're trying to add to that possession now with a ball over from the left-hand side, just a little bit overhit, but it's still maybe picked up here by Joel Ward. His cross straight onto the head of Branthwaite. Yeah,
Jefferson Lerma will put it back in towards Eduoard, who is onside, and he puts it into the back of the net. It's a total lapse of concentration from James Tarkowski. He thought there wasn't a runner behind him, and the ball would have gone back to Jordan Pickford. He didn't see Odsonne Eduoard, and can you believe it, the man that we would suspect will be substituted right now for Jean-Philippe Mateta has got the goal.
He has got the goal, and I don't think there's going to be any VAR rescue here. We'll just see from this replay as his first ball is put in, and so then it's played back here. Ooh, I don't think so. It's close. I'm sure VAR will have a look at it, but there's still a cute finish there from. There was still a cute finish there from Eduoard.
It really was. The lines may have to come out, but my initial reaction is that he's just onside. The anticipation is great, but we've just seen Jordan Pickford's reaction there towards Tarkowski. He just cannot believe that The captain, who's so experienced and has had a great game so far, did not see the run of Eduoard. It's fine margins, isn't it? Because that goal kick for Crystal Palace, they could have made the changes then. Would Mateta have done the same thing there as Eduoard?
Would he have gone straight up and into that position? I mean, Mateta is having to sort of do a... Well, I'm not going to say he's not applauding genuinely, but I'm sure inside he's thinking, really, you're going to score just as I'm ready to come on? But VAR is going to check this, and I think that Hughes is offside in the build-up. I don't think Eduoard is, although that right foot potentially might just be behind Ashley Young, looking at the shading of the turf there. So as I say, this may well have still some life in it in terms of the decision being made.
Well, they're certainly going to do everything and take their time. It's such a big decision in the game, really, with 15 minutes to go. Joel Ward has gone over to the referee, Sam Barrett, just to maybe ask for some explanation as to why the check has taken so long. It is continuing the check. We have lost the replays off of our screen. They are returning once more. The left foot as well of James Tarkowski seems to be a bit behind that of Eduard's right boot, I believe that is. But these are the kind of fine margins that we always really attribute VAR nowadays for.
Yes, that's right. I mean, it's some people say it's too for detailed. Benefit a doubt to the striker. The referee, has he whistled something? He still hasn't been given any confirmation here, Sam Barrett. So, don't know exactly what's going to be given here. But he's now calling to James. So I'm assuming that's going to be James Tarkowski. Is this to tell him that the goal is going to be given or not? That's the question. It's still very difficult still after seeing all these replays. Yeah,
well, it keeps changing really, but we're getting the VAR pictures and then losing them, and then they return back to the screen. And we're now just watching a replay of the goal over and over. He has confirmed the goal. So Odsonne Eduoard was onside. So it's a real moment to forget there for Tarkowski. He was hoping the blushes would be spared, given that there was a potential offside, but no offside offence. And Palace do have their equaliser.
They do, with less than 15 minutes of regulation. Of course, we are going to get some added time. Beto, in the meantime, Portuguese forward is getting ready to come on here for Everton. Comes on for Calvert-Lewin.
It was a change that really should have been made, given that Calvert-Lewin did seem to be have his race run rather, and Beto won in his place. The summer signing from Udinese, incidentally, he was signed really given the injury proneness of Calvert-Lewin. But it's a resurgence from the Everton number 9 that has seen Beto not feature maybe as much as he would have hoped, but he now has the responsibility to try and get Everton back in front. They've been in the lead twice already in this game, and Palace have pegged them back on both occasions. But for Crystal Palace, given the changes they have made, there's every reason why they can maybe now for the first time in this game try and go in front.
They'll believe as though they can still do this, absolutely. And ball now down the right hand side here for Elise to chase.
Yeah, and Mykolenko does get there after the header of Elise, but he does clear it out for a corner, and Elise races over to take this one. 7th corner of the game for Crystal Palace, and the defenders have made their way forward for this set piece. The in swing from Elise is incoming. Doucoure is just making sure that Jefferson Lerma is in his path as it comes in. There's a half appeal for handball. It ricochets around between Everton and Crystal Palace players, and it goes into the hands of Jordan Pickford, who wants a potential counter opportunity. Instead, he keeps hold of the ball. We're going to see a slow motion replay of what the appeals may have been for. It's on Mykolenko, but his hands are down his side. I suspect it wouldn't be given.
No, his hands are down by his side, and there was a bit of a deflection before the ball went down his side. So to say there's any kind of intent for him wanting to use his hands with that would be very unfair.
Goes back to Jordan Pickford now after he did initially send it long. The header will go towards Beto, who does well to hold it up, but then brings down Will Hughes, who just got in the way between man and ball. Anderson has stayed down, holding his face. Maybe he got an arm from the Portuguese attacker, as we just see the foul on Hughes, not the contact between Beto and Joachim Anderson. Arsenal have got a bit more of an advantage now. A 3rd goal for them. Alexander Zinchenko to provide a 2-goal cushion for the Gunners for the first time this afternoon. So maybe the 3 points are going the way of Mikel Arteta's men, and another defeat for Burnley. And now Elise is coming forward, gets around Mykolenko brilliantly inside the area, right to the byline, cuts it back, clearance though by Tarkowski. I believe that plenty of attacking options for Palace there were waiting for it, but it's cleared out for a throw-in for Crystal Palace. Still inside their own half. I don't think those changes were made in the end by Roy Hodgson.
No, it seemed like he was ready to bring on Mateta, but that's interesting, isn't it, that he felt as though he needed Mateta on the field when his side were chasing a defeat. Now they're drawing and going for the win. Perhaps because of the fact that the goal scorer was Eduoard, he feels like he can leave him on the field for now. Well,
he certainly answered Roy Hodgson. It will have been his last chance to, and he did it at the perfect time, because it was for a good minute or two, really, that Mateta was ready to come on. But it seems he's been instructed to go back to the bench, and now Eduoard will be awaiting a cross from a Crystal Palace corner. This time it will be Berchieze, the scorer of the first goal, from the spot in the 5th minute, as the Crystal Palace fans try and suck this ball into the back of the net. Plenty of grey shirts in there, though, will prevent that. Although there is going to be a bit of a wait, is there? Or just a few words from the referee Sam Barrett towards Jared Branthwaite and Joachim Andersen, the two centre-backs jostling inside the 18-yard area. The one arm raised by Eze. It'll be whipped in towards the 6-yard area. Cleared out, though, by Tarkowski, who looks to try and make amends for the error that he committed for the second goal. 10 minutes of normal time to go. Crystal Palace 2, Everton 2. Independent off-tube studio commentary. As we said in the first half, this so often is a fixture that doesn't see goals. 3 of the last 5 head-to-heads have been goalless, but we've been treated to 4.
We have been treated to 4, and it has been an intriguing game, and the end of this match is going to be intriguing for me as well, because now the Palace are definitely in the ascendancy. They have been now for most of this second half. Everton are just trying to respond, and now, well, I could argue that better ran into Gueye, but the officials have seen it exactly the other way around, so Everton have a free kick.
Well, it's a set piece, a deep one at that, but I'd suspect they're going to get the defenders forward. It is the passages of play that Everton do thrive from, given the height that they have in the deliveries from Dwight McNeil. He is the one to put the ball down on the spot, and will be whipping this one towards the edge of the area. Idrissa Gueye is there for the short option, but I would suspect he'll be sending this towards the target men. It's a high ball towards Tarkowski. Can he flick it on? Who was the last touch off? I'd suspect a Palace man, since Joachim Andersen tried to keep it in, which he did, but it has gone for a throw for Everton right towards that far corner flag.
Good work that from Anderson to at least avoid the corner. Everton have got big players that can threaten from a set piece. They have also got the potential to launch a long throw, but they just choose to take it short.
They do, and it'll be another throw in exactly where the first one was taken by Vitaly Mikolenko. Dwight McNeil is there for the short option, so too is James Garner. Still plenty of time for both teams to try and get what could be the last goal, as it is played in towards Abdoulaye Doucoure. Cleared out by Palace, and now Eduoard does brilliantly to hold up the ball towards Will Hughes. Now Eze does well to get around James Garner. Then he's got an option on the far side, being Michael Lilly. So this is the kind of areas that he will thrive in. Good ball forward towards Eduoard, who has stayed onside. Back heels it to Jordan Ayew. He's tackled at a crucial moment, though, by James Tarkowski. And now Idrissa Gueye does well to get around Elise and earn Everton a throw. But that's a great Crystal Palace counter-attack. But Tarkowski, who has had a very good game, barring that mistake, needed to make that challenge.
Tarkowski has had a good game, you're absolutely right, and we're going to see this change now for a Palace. It's a change we were expecting just before the goal was scored, with Jean-Philippe Mateta replacing Odsonne Eduoard.
Yep, he got the goal, and maybe that bought him a good 5 or so extra minutes. It's still a shake of the head from Eduoard, but I'm sure he'll be happy that he did get his goal, because maybe he did see over on that touchline earlier on that he would have been coming off eventually, but he managed to get the goal. That is so important for Crystal Palace. As it stands, this draw would put Crystal Palace into 10th position. As for Everton, they would be in 15th, but of course there's plenty of Premier League action tomorrow. There's 5 games all available on this service. Aston Villa against Fulham at 2 o'clock, Brighton against Sheffield United, Liverpool against Brentford, West Ham against Nottingham Forest. They're all at 2 p.m, and then Chelsea against Man City at 4:30. Perhaps the pick of the Premier League action this weekend. Everton now coming forward with Jack Harrison in the edge of the area. Ashley Young is offside, but he drags back into an onside position to retrieve the ball. He's forced right towards the corner flag, though. Has that gone for a throw-in or a corner, as it ricochets off the flagpole? It has gone for a throw-in. A bit of a shove between both Ashley Young and Will Hughes. Arsenal have gone down to 10 men, incidentally, despite being 3-1 up against Burnley. It's Fabio Vieira, who was a second-half substitute, and in 24 minutes of being on the field, he has been sent off. The throw-in came to nothing, though, for Everton. It's been cleared all the way down back to the defensive half of the Toffees.
Yeah, that one from Vieira you mentioned there for Arsenal, he must have had a real hot-headed moment because I've seen him play a few times. I wouldn't have thought that was part of his personality on the field. There's a real bit of confusion there at the edge of the Palace penalty area. Sam Johnstone goes all the way to the edge of his box to catch a long ball into the box, and it's headed from almost literally from out of his arms by his own defender Gueye. And now Everton still have possession here in midfield.
Yeah, they do with Beto and now Idrissa Gueye. But well, there you go. Yes, we give all the praise in attack, but that tackle there shows his defensive ability too. He's then had his shirt pulled by Beto. A few fouls conceded by the recent substitute for the Toffees. It's still only 2 changes apiece for both teams, so they do have many more at their disposal for this final 5 or so minutes.
I must admit, I'm surprised by that. I think both managers have reasons to bring on another 1 or 2 players, to both go. I mean, to go for it, unless we're thinking now that potentially Everton are trying to wind down and be happy with the point away from home.
Yeah, perhaps they would be. But there is a little mistake in defence there from Palace. So could that motivate Everton to come forward? It's with Dwight McNeil over the top for Beto. Good bring down by the Portuguese attacker, but then at the crucial moment, Mark Gueye can clear it. Everton maybe are looking for a third as Ashley Young then whips it into the box, but it is cleared out by the Crystal Palace defence once more. A decent chance there for Beto, but he just couldn't get it out of his feet. And then Roy Hodgson's men did enough to clear it out. But the threat is still alive for the Toffees. It's with Abdoulaye Doucoure on the edge of the area. Good ball forward to Idrissa Gueye. And it's 3-2. You were just saying, weren't you, Rob, Paul, about the possibility of Everton holding up for a potential draw. They've already taken the lead on 2 occasions in this game. They've taken the lead for the 3rd time now. And with 5 minutes to go, it's their half-time substitute, Idrissa Gueye.
What's a game this has been? Fantastic. Everton taking the lead inside the first minute, being pegged back and then scoring early in the second half, pegged back again, and now with just 4 minutes plus injury time, there will be a bit of that to go, but now with just 4 minutes to play, Everton are in front, and it's a lovely goal as well. Nice turn from Idrissa Gueye himself to pick out a teammate, Doucoure, with a fantastic ball. And you've got to say that Idrissa Gueye there, the control and the awareness in the box is that of an out-and-out forward. He does really, really well here. I like this touch he takes inside the penalty area just to get himself into the position. And then as he's hitting the deck, make sure he still gets enough power through that foot to guide it into the bottom corner. It's a great goal from Idrissa Gueye.
Well, it seemed that when Doucoure had it, he was pondering the possibility of a long-range effort because no Crystal Palace man was charging him down. But then he saw the run of Idrissa Gueye, as you say. It's a perfect first touch, because he's still wide of goal, but that touch allows him to come centrally, and he has the whole goal to aim at. He is under pressure, though, from Tarek Mitchell, and this is his week of foot, bearing in mind, and a defensive midfielder. He slots it home right into the corner. Sam Johnstone gambles and goes one way, but then Idrissa Gueye, what a finish that is from a man who seldom scores goals, and you can just see the impact that he has on the team, because every player went over there to celebrate with him. We were just saying about the lack of changes that both teams have made. I would suspect now that Roy Hodgson may want to make a few more.
Roy Hodgson may want to make a few more, but then we look at the bench for Everton, and there's Godfrey, there's Patterson, there's Michael Keane. So potentially, if Sean Dyche is thinking about padding out his defensive midfield, there's players that can do that as well.
Well, maybe one of the criticisms for Everton last season in what was their second consecutive year of relegation scare was their difficulty to find goals, but they've got 3 this evening. And
something about playing in the capital for Everton, isn't it?
It really is, as we've said. In fact, they scored 3 at Brentford as well. It was a 3-1 victory for the Toffees there. They managed a clean sheet against West Ham for a 1-0 victory there. But now it's up to them defensively to prevent Palace from going back on level terms. It looks as if Amadou Onana from the bench has received a yellow card.
We'll confirm that. I just wonder if perhaps he's been a little bit too keen with the celebrations when the goal's been scored.
Well, instead, that free kick for Palace comes to nothing, and now the pace of Jack Harrison can bring Everton forward. He was asking for a foul against Jordan Ayew there, but the referee was not interested in the slightest. We will bring confirmation of that potential yellow card. It could have been for keeping the ball, or as you say, excessive celebrations for the man that has been taken off. But what we can confirm is that there has been another yellow card for an Everton midfielder, one that is still on the pitch, and it's James Garner.
Yeah, he picks up the yellow card. It was a bit of a word there to Jordan Ayew as he walked past him. Maybe the suggestion there from Gardner is that the foul wasn't too bad. But as Garner turns into Ayew, there's very little attempt to play the ball there from the Everton youngster, so I'm not sure that he's got any argument there at all, really.
Yep, yellow card for the former Manchester United man. Palace are indeed making another change, and I think it was the one that, well, there was 2 at the time, wasn't there, when the score was 2-1. It was one being Mateta, and the other one, I believe, would have been Noiru Ahamada, and now Ahamada has come on. It's for Will Hughes, so that's the third change made by Roy Hodgson, and I believe it's the third window of substitutions as well, so I don't believe he would be making another substitution despite only making 3.
Well, if that is the case, then it's a bit of a mistake there from Hodgson. In the meantime, Anthony Taylor is already holding the board up to say that Abdoulaye Doucoure is going to be going off here for Everton, and he's going to be replaced by Patterson. But now it looks like the Everton manager's having second thoughts.
Well, it could be a little trick in the book, maybe, just to eat the seconds away. Everton did make a change at half-time, so this is only their second window of making a substitution. And it is a defensive one, as you say. Nathan Patterson is going to be for Ashley Young. It's a like for like. I mean, Doucoure is number 16, Ashley Young is number 80. Maybe the fourth official punched the numbers in incorrectly. But as I've said, there's always a battle between the right backs.
I mean, these days I think isn't it a case that the benches set up the board, and then the fourth official just literally displays it? Because now there's obviously all sorts of paperwork that has to be done with the substitution. It's not just a case of saying number this going off, number that coming on, but you actually have to submit a little form. And in the past we have seen that it's the actual one of the assistant managers, one of the coaches that actually sets up the numbers, and then he gives it to our fourth official. Our fourth official, though, has done this bit of work independently. He's put up a number 8 to say we're going to get 8 minutes of added time.
I think also I remember during the COVID period that, in fact, assistant managers also held the board up. They had their own personal boards to make the substitutions. But as you say, 8 minutes stand between Everton's potential first back-to-back away win since May 2021. If they were to get these 3 points, they would jump into 14th place, but maybe more crucially 8 points ahead of the relegation zone. Palace would be in 12th position if they were to fall to defeat in this encounter, but there's still at least 7 minutes of the allotted 8, and so much can change. After all, we have already seen Crystal Palace peg Everton back on 2 occasions. Can they make it the third time, this time though in stoppage time of the second half? It's a free kick for the Eagles, and it'll be Berchieze to swing this one, and only Jack Harrison in the wall. That's because every Everton man is in line with the 18-yard area, ready to defend this potential cross. It doesn't beat the first man though. It's Idrissa Gueye, the goal scorer, the potential match winner as it stands, to clear it out towards the halfway line. Now with Michael Olise towards Joachim Andersen. I think that is in a wide position. The centre-back just trying to make himself available for anything. He looks to get the ball in the box, but it's been blocked out by Dwight McNeil. Throwing in line of the 18-yard area for Crystal Palace. Still Arsenal 3, Burnley 1, and Man United 1-0 up against Luton Town. Mark Gehi inside the centre circle plays it 1-2 between his centre-back partner Anderson. Back out to the Danish international, who may look long now instead. No, he plays it wide for Joel Ward. Further down the line for Elise, who is hounded out there by Mikolenko. He gets the tackle in. It's out for a Crystal Palace throw, and every stoppage in play. Palace are desperate to get the ball back on the field. Taken quickly by Elise, and he'll get it back now and looks to get the ball in the box once more. Laid off by Jefferson Lerma. Joe Ward now back to Elise. Lerma makes the run down the line, gets an early ball into the box. Interception made by Branthwaite. It's a Palace corner.
It is a Palace corner, and they needed that little bit of life just sparked into there. Good clearance as well from Branthwaite to make sure it doesn't reach its intended target. And so now players are loading up in the penalty area for an in-swinger from, looks like it's Elise. Yeah,
Elise is going to offer a deep cross. It was looking for Jordan Ayew. It was cleared by Mikolenko. The wrong way, though, towards danger. So a teammate can do enough to clear it. And now Harrison does well to find Doucoure. James Garner, Patterson there too as well. Idrissa Gueye under pressure from Ahamada. Doucoure instead will go long towards Harrison. Good first touch, though, from the former Leeds man. But once again, it's a Berchieze tracking back and getting a crucial tackle in. He's going to make his way forward, as will Crystal Palace. Ahamada towards Joel Ward. Mark Gehi now. Still plenty of time in the allotted 8 minutes. There's 5 of them to go as they look for a free kick there, Crystal Palace. They're not going to get it, though, as they do still have the ball at the very least. It's towards Joel Ward. Every Everton man behind the ball at the moment as Beto tried to shove off Joel Ward with a forward pass that is then cut out. Anywhere will do there for Jared Branthwaite. Sends it back into the Crystal Palace half. It goes all the way back to Sam Johnstone, who again will look long. Harrison, is he shoved over there by Tarek Mitchell? The referee says yes after a little hesitation there, and that's going to add to the frustration there for Crystal Palace, who are desperate to try and get back on level terms once more, but there was a little nudge on Harrison.
There was a little nudge on Harrison, and so that will certainly be good news as far as Everton are concerned. You can see Sean Dyche, he's still having conversations there with the fourth official, still checking everything. He knows that his side have had to work very hard this afternoon against the Palace side, who've had long spells of possession. But I've always felt in this game that Everton could just sense that there were periods where Palace could be got at, and they've done that very well today, I think, Everton.
Pickford will send this one long. It's only Idrissa Gueye's 5th goal for Everton in his second stint, of course, transferring to Paris Saint-Germain for a few years. Beto is inside the area now for Everton. Gets the shot in, just flashes wide. It was a good opportunity for the Portuguese striker. His first of the game, really, as Everton looked to kill the game off. Harrison played the ball forward towards Beto. A good run from him as he just snatches the shot a yard or two wide. Yeah,
the angles were always against him, as you say, but it's still a decent effort. He could have just perhaps just got a little bit more of a lace on that. Could have just perhaps just swerved towards goal. But it's a chance for Everton. It means that Palace have to kick off. Everton could then press a bit higher up the field. So it's potentially a minute of injury time taken up by that.
Well, yeah, exactly. And maybe the threat, if Palace do throw everything forward, that Everton could seal the deal in the remaining few minutes. Instead, Palace get the ball into the box, and there's a bit of panic amongst the Everton defence. They didn't know how to deal with that one. Nathan Patterson with a few touches inside his 18-yard box, but he eventually cleared it out for a throw-in.
He does, but if he's going to do that, then just boot it out straight away. He didn't actually get much distance on it. It was a throw-on to Palace, still close to the Everton penalty area, and here's Ayew now in possession for the home side.
Ayew towards Joachim Andersen, plays it into the area. Patterson is back there, as well as James Garner, and they can clear it as far forward as possible. Sam Johnstone will immediately ping it back into the Everton half, however, and find Jefferson Lerma. Ball over the top, but this may skim beyond Jordan Pickford, who looked like he was going to claim the ball, but he knew it was going to bounce out for a goal kick. Still flamboyant in his sliders. I think it was Mateta who wanted to get there, but it was a bit too much weight on the pass in the end from Lerma.
I tell you what, if you're an opposition fan, then Pickford's not going to be a favourite player in that moment. But of course, that's the way he plays. He's very vocal, he's very animated, and he will sort of make it look as though he's going to go for it and then leave it. That's just what he does. But it was effective there, because again, it just takes the sting out of that moment of Palace attack, which actually could have been dealt with a bit quicker if Patterson had cleared the ball a bit sooner. But we still have just under 2 minutes of the allotted injury time to play. Yeah, just under 2 minutes. Palace, as the seconds tick by, will be trying every risk possible, throwing the kitchen sink at a potential draw. As we have highlighted already, they have struggled at Selhurst Park this season. Just the one win so far, 2 draws, 2 defeats. It could be the 3rd defeat of the season at home. If the result was to remain this way, Elise may have other ideas though as he gets around Mikolenko. Is he brought down by the Ukrainian?